Deliveries go around back. Now move! The security guard slams his palm against the BMW's hood, blocking its path. He yanks open his raincoat, revealing his security badge while aggressively pointing toward a service road. You people always try the front gate, don't you? The driver's window lowers, revealing a well-dressed black man. I'm Dr. Taylor. I own this residence. Jackson scoffs, shining his flashlight directly at Taylor's face. Right, and I'm Beyoncé's husband. Security Supervisor Griffith approaches, radio already in hand. Dr. Taylor is forced to reverse his vehicle through deepening puddles, watching as the same guards wave through a white couple without verification. 2 hours later, the mansion buzzes with emergency activity. The security team stands in formation, uniforms drenched from their walk through the storm. Dr. Taylor sits at the head of the conference table, company CEO badge prominently displayed. Jackson, Griffith, you're both terminated. And your team? Consider this your exit interview at a company I now own. How did Dr. Taylor transform from locked-out visitor to their boss in just 2 hours? Dr. Andre Taylor adjusts his tie, exhaustion weighing on him after a 14-hour international flight. His BMW glides toward Horizon Heights, an exclusive gated community nestled among manicured landscapes. Despite fatigue clouding his eyes, excitement pulses through him at finally seeing the mansion he purchased 3 months ago while traveling for Horizon Technologies. The security booth comes into view, its glass reflecting the darkening sky as rain clouds gather overhead. Andre slows his vehicle, window humming down as he approaches. His tailored suit and luxury car speak of success, yet security guard Jackson's expression immediately hardens upon seeing Andre's face. Can I help you? Jackson asks, emphasis suggesting Andre doesn't belong. Good evening. I'm Dr. Andre Taylor, new resident at 17 Lakeside Drive. Andre replies with practiced professionalism. Jackson's eyebrows rise. 17 Lakeside? The Henderson estate? Not anymore. I closed on it 3 months ago, Andre explains, reaching for his identification. Jackson leans back, arms crossing. That's the largest property in Horizon Heights, purchased by the new CEO of Horizon Technologies. Yes, that's correct, Andre confirms. Interesting. Jackson studies Andre with obvious skepticism. We've had some delivery thefts recently, need to be extra careful. Andre notices Jackson's gaze lingering on his complexion rather than his credentials. Through the booth window, a wall displays employee photos. Jackson's showing a former police uniform, a fact that makes Andre instinctively straighten his posture. I understand security concerns, Andre offers diplomatically. I have all my documentation ready. Jackson's radio crackles. He speaks quickly into it, eyes never leaving Andre. Got a situation at the main gate. Send Griffith. Minutes later, Supervisor Griffith approaches, clipboard in hand, raindrops beginning to speckle his uniform. His expression mirrors Jackson's suspicion as he surveys Andre's vehicle. What seems to be the problem? Griffith asks, addressing Jackson rather than Andre. Claims he lives at the Henderson estate, Jackson replies. Says he's the new CEO. Griffith turns to Andre, skepticism evident. Sir, perhaps you're confused about which community you're visiting. Horizon Heights is a private, exclusive property. Andre maintains his composure. I'm not confused. I purchased 17 Lakeside Drive 3 months ago. I have identification and property documentation in my briefcase. I'm the highest authority present, Griffith states firmly, and I don't recall any notification about new ownership of our premium property. Behind Andre's BMW, a white couple in a Mercedes approaches. Without checking their credentials, Jackson waves them through with a friendly nod. What neither guard realizes is that Andre has already noticed the Sentinel security logo on their uniforms, the same company his corporation acquired yesterday. Rain begins to fall more steadily as Andre retrieves his driver's license and property deed from his briefcase. He holds them out toward Griffith, who takes them with visible reluctance. These documents appear suspicious, Griffith says after barely glancing at them. He hands them back dismissively. Anyone could print these. Then perhaps we should call the property management office, Andre suggests reasonably. They can verify my ownership. Office is closed for the weekend, Griffith responds too quickly. Reopens Monday morning. Andre's jaw tightens slightly, the first crack in his professional demeanor. There must be some verification protocol for new residents arriving after hours. The conversation halts as headlights approach from behind. A silver Lexus pulls up, driven by an older white couple. Jackson immediately steps toward their vehicle, smiling broadly. "Evening, Mr. and Mrs. Whitman. Welcome back," Jackson calls out, waving them through without checking any identification. Andre turns back to Griffith, eyebrow raised. "You didn't verify their credentials." "Those are proper residents we recognize," Griffith replies flatly. "Been here for years." Andre takes a slow, measured breath. "May I ask which security company you represent?" Griffith stands taller, pride evident. "Sentinel Security Services, best in the business, protecting Horizon Heights for over a decade." Andre nods, making mental note. "I see." A younger guard approaches from the security office, Thompson, according to his nameplate. He observes the situation with evident discomfort, shifting his weight from one foot to another. "Is there a resident database we could check?" Andre asks Thompson directly, noting the guard's less confrontational demeanor. Thompson begins to respond. "We do have a verification system that—" "Thompson!" Griffith cuts him off sharply. "Return to your post. I'm handling this." Thompson hesitates, glancing between Andre and his supervisor before reluctantly stepping back. "Perhaps you could escort me to the property," Andre suggests to Griffith. "Verify my residence directly." "We're understaffed tonight," Griffith claims, despite 5 guards visible in and around the security booth. "Can't leave the gate unattended." The rain intensifies, drops now pelting Andre's exposed hand, still holding his identification. He surveys the situation, the dismissive security team, the preferential treatment of white residents, the increasingly heavy downpour. "I understand," Andre says finally, his tone neutral, but eyes calculating. "Then I'll need to make alternative arrangements." "Best if you come back Monday when management is available," Griffith suggests with thinly veiled satisfaction. "Or use the service entrance if you're making a delivery." As Andre pulls away toward street parking, Thompson watches with growing concern. Does this younger guard sense the catastrophic mistake his team just made? Andre parks his BMW on the public street 50 yards from the Horizon Heights entrance. Rain drums against the roof as he sits motionless, watching the security gate through sheets of water cascading down his windshield. His phone shows just 5% battery remaining after the long international flight. Through the downpour, he observes 3 more vehicles approach the gate. Each contains white occupants. Each receives a casual wave-through from Jackson. Andre checks his watch. 7:45 p.m. His new home sits less than half a mile away, yet might as well be on another continent. His luggage remains locked in his trunk, including his laptop charger and spare phone battery. Frustration builds, but he channels it into deliberate thought rather than outward expression. He exits his vehicle, the expensive wool of his suit immediately darkening with moisture. The walk back to the security booth feels longer with each rain-soaked step. By the time he arrives, water streams from his tailored shoulders. Jackson doesn't attempt to hide his smirk. "Back so soon?" "I need to contact the property management emergency line," Andre states, water dripping from his chin. "My phone is nearly dead. May I use your office phone?" Griffith emerges from the dry comfort of the booth. "We don't allow unauthorized individuals inside security facilities." "Then call for me," Andre requests, maintaining his composure despite the humiliation of standing drenched while his antagonizers remain dry. "This situation is becoming unreasonable." Griffith exchanges glances with Jackson before reluctantly nodding. "Wait here." Andre stands in the rain for 15 excruciating minutes. Residents drive past, some slowing to observe the well-dressed black man being made to wait outside the security booth like a trespasser. Some avert their eyes, others stare openly. Finally, Griffith beckons him toward the small office. 5 minutes. That's it. Inside, Andre stands on the thin mat by the door, water pooling beneath his Italian leather shoes. The guards have made no offer of a towel or seat. Griffith picks up the desk phone, punches in a number, waits briefly, then hangs up. No answer from emergency management. Try again Monday. The phone barely rang, Andre observes quietly. Thompson, monitoring security cameras at a nearby desk, speaks up. We could check the resident database. It would show... Systems down for maintenance, Griffith interrupts, though the computer clearly displays an active screen. Weekend updates. I'd like to speak with Thompson privately, Andre requests, noting the younger guard's discomfort with the situation. All communication goes through me, Griffith insists, and you need to complete this visitor denial form before leaving. He slides a document across the desk. Andre studies it briefly, noting the clause waiving his right to file complaints against Sentinel security. I will not be signing this, Andre states firmly. Then we'll have to report this as a trespassing attempt, Griffith threatens. We have your license plate recorded. Jackson adds with unmistakable condescension, maybe try the service entrance next time. They're used to your situation. Andre's expression remains impassive, though his eyes harden. I would like copies of your security protocols and the names of everyone involved in this incident. Jackson tears off a slip of paper, scribbling, Officer doing my job, before sliding it across with a sneer. Griffith adds his own name, deliberately misspelling it. Andre collects the paper, folds it precisely, and tucks it into his sodden jacket pocket. Thank you for documenting your participation. Neither guard recognizes the calm calculation in Andre's eyes, the look of a CEO who's just identified a serious liability within his new acquisition. Andre walks back through the intensifying rain, each step cementing his resolve. The humiliation transforms into cold, clear purpose with every raindrop. Reaching his car, he checks his phone, 2% battery remaining. He doesn't waste time on anger. Instead, he quickly dials his executive assistant. Vanessa, it's Andre, he says the moment she answers. I need you to activate protocol oversight at Horizon Heights immediately. Sir? That's the acquisition we finalized yesterday, Vanessa responds, surprise evident in her voice. Yes. Send Diane from legal and James from HR to the main gate. Have them bring the complete file on Sentinel Security Services. This is urgent. What happened? Vanessa begins to ask. The phone dies mid-sentence. Andre places it carefully on the passenger seat, his movements deliberate despite the storm raging around him. He sits motionless for 30 seconds, organizing his thoughts with the precision that built Horizon Technologies into an industry leader. From his luggage, he retrieves a dry suit and changes quickly in the confined space of his car. The wet clothes he places in a plastic bag, methodical even in crisis. Next, he extracts his tablet from his briefcase. Though unable to connect to the internet in the storm, he has offline copies of recent acquisition documents. Andre navigates to the Sentinel Security Services files. The security company was part of a larger acquisition when Horizon Technologies purchased Eagle Corp last month, a small division he hadn't planned to review until next quarter. His finger traces the organizational chart displayed on screen. Patricia Harris, regional manager for Sentinel, reports directly to his company's COO. A noteworthy detail catches his eye. Multiple discrimination complaints filed against Sentinel at various properties, all mysteriously resolved without disciplinary action. Andre adds this to his mental catalog of the evening's events, constructing a precise timeline of everything said and done at the gate. Meanwhile, inside the security office, Thompson waits until Griffith steps outside to monitor the gate. He quickly accesses the resident database, typing Taylor into the search field. His eyes widen at the results. Dr. Andre Taylor is indeed listed as the owner of 17 Lakeside Drive, with a notification flag identifying him as the new CEO of Horizon Technologies. Thompson's finger hovers over the mouse, debating whether to alert Griffith. Either choice carries consequences. He ultimately closes the database without saying anything, conflict evident on his young face. In his car, Andre crafts a detailed plan balancing justice with corporate responsibility. This isn't merely about personal vindication. It's about addressing a systemic problem affecting countless others without his resources or position. He documents each interaction in meticulous detail, preparing for what comes next. Through the rain-streaked windshield, Andre watches a black SUV pull up to the security gate. Two professionally dressed individuals emerge, a woman and a man, both carrying briefcases despite the downpour. Jackson immediately directs them toward the security office, his demeanor noticeably more accommodating than it had been with Andre. The chess pieces are in motion, but Griffith and Jackson still believe they're playing checkers. They have no idea who's really arrived. Inside the security office, Diane Chen, Horizon Technologies legal counsel, and James Okafor, HR director, stand with perfect posture despite their rain-dampened clothing. The small room feels suddenly inadequate for the gravitas they bring. "I'm Diane Chen, Chief Legal Counsel for Horizon Technologies," she states, presenting her credentials. "This is James Okafor, our HR director. We're here regarding a serious complaint about resident access protocols." Griffith's expression shifts from authoritative to uncertain. "A resident complained? We've been maintaining strict security due to recent thefts. We need immediate access to security camera footage and incident logs from the past hour," James states, his tone pleasant but brooking no argument. Jackson steps forward defensively. "That requires supervisor approval. We can't just—" "We have authorization from ownership," Diane interrupts, her voice silk over steel. Thompson looks up from his monitoring station. "I can help access that footage, sir." Griffith glares at Thompson but nods curtly, unable to refuse the request without raising further suspicion. Meanwhile, Andre remains in his car, the rain finally beginning to ease. His phone charges enough to receive a text from Vanessa. "Patricia Harris, Regional Manager Sentinel, notified and en route. District Property Manager also contacted." Inside the security booth, Thompson accesses the camera system, bringing up footage of Andre's earlier interaction with the security team. Diane and James watched intently as the scene unfolds on screen. Andre's professional demeanor, Jackson's immediate hostility, Griffith's refusal to verify credentials. "We were following protocol for unverified visitors," Griffith insists, watching himself on the monitor. "We've had security incidents recently." "Yet other vehicles were admitted without verification," James observes, pointing to footage of the white couple waved through without checking. "Those were known residents," Jackson argues, crossing his arms. "We recognize them." Thompson shifts uncomfortably in his chair before speaking. "I checked the database after you stepped out, Mr. Griffith. Dr. Taylor is registered as the owner of 17 Lakeside Drive." "You did what?" Griffith explodes, face flushing. "That was direct insubordination." Diane makes a note in her tablet as this outburst is captured by the office cameras she ensured were recording. The office phone rings sharply. Griffith snatches it up, listening intently as the color drains from his face. He ends the call without speaking and turns to the others. "We need to reassess the situation with the visitor at the gate," he announces, his authoritative tone now hollow. What bombshell did Patricia Harris just drop that made Griffith suddenly eager to reassess the situation? Patricia Harris strides toward the security gate, her tailored raincoat shedding water with each purposeful step. The regional manager of Sentinel Security Services projects competence and concern in equal measure. Before entering the security office, she pauses to speak with Diane and James under the small awning. "How bad is it?" she asks quietly. Diane passes her tablet to Patricia, displaying the security footage alongside a corporate organizational chart. "The man they denied entry and humiliated is Dr. Andre Taylor. As of yesterday, he's effectively the owner of Sentinel Security." Patricia's professional mask slips momentarily, genuine alarm flashing across her features. "They turned away our new CEO, and there's footage?" "Complete with racial profiling clearly evident," James confirms soberly. Patricia squares her shoulders and enters the security office, where Griffith immediately approaches. "Ms. Harris, there's been a misunderstanding with a difficult visitor," he begins, words rushing together. We were simply following security protocols. Was this visitor Dr. Andre Taylor? Patricia cuts him off, her tone clipped. Some guy claiming to be the owner of the Henderson estate, Jackson interjects from across the room. We were just doing our job, keeping out someone who didn't look like they belonged here. Patricia's expression hardens at Jackson's phrasing. She turns to Thompson. I'd like your account of what happened. Thompson straightens, clearly uncomfortable being put on the spot. Dr. Taylor arrived and presented identification. He claimed to own 17 Lakeside Drive, which I later confirmed in our database. He was denied entry and made to wait in the rain while other residents were admitted without verification. Thompson is too new to understand security protocols, Jackson dismisses with a wave. We can't just let anyone in who claims to be a resident. Outside, Andre's phone rings. Vanessa again. The executive board has been briefed. They've unanimously authorized your planned response. Patricia Harris has arrived at the gate. Andre acknowledges this update and exits his car. The rain has subsided to a light drizzle, the air heavy with the aftermath of the storm. He walks toward the security booth with measured steps. Patricia emerges with Diane and James, immediately approaching Andre. Her demeanor is dramatically different from that of Griffith and Jackson, respectful, professional, concerned. Dr. Taylor, I'm Patricia Harris, Regional Manager for Sentinel Security Services. She introduces herself. I want to personally apologize for the unprofessional treatment you've received. I'd be honored to escort you to your residence immediately. As they walk toward the mansion, Patricia continues, Sentinel was recently acquired, but I wasn't informed who the new ownership was. I assure you, this incident doesn't reflect our company values. Andre responds with measured calm. I'm less concerned about my experience, and more troubled by what it reveals about your company's culture and protocols. How many others without my resources have been similarly mistreated? Patricia's stride falters slightly at his words. Inside the security office, Griffith's phone rings again, this time from Sentinel's CEO, whose voice carries the unmistakable tone of panic. The security team watches through rain-speckled windows as Andre walks with Patricia, Diane, and James toward the mansion. Griffith's phone vibrates in his hand. Gregory Walsh, CEO of Sentinel Security Services. Sir, Griffith answers, tension evident in his voice. What the hell is happening there? Walsh demands, his panic palpable even through the small speaker. I just got calls from 3 board members of Horizon Technologies. Tell me you didn't deny entry to Dr. Andre Taylor. There was a verification issue with a visitor who... Griffith begins. That visitor is the CEO of our parent company, Walsh interrupts. The man who signs all our paychecks as of yesterday. Get your entire team to the main house immediately. The call ends abruptly. Griffith stares at his phone, face ashen. Everyone needs to report to the main house immediately, he announces, voice strained. Full team, no excuses. Jackson frowns, gesturing toward the gate. Who's going to man the entrance? We can't just... That's the least of our concerns right now, Griffith snaps, gathering his clipboard and hat. Thompson steps forward hesitantly. What's happening? Griffith doesn't answer, his gaze fixed on the distant mansion illuminated against the darkening sky. Meanwhile, Andre enters his new home for the first time. The grand foyer rises 2 stories, marble floors gleaming under crystal chandeliers. Patricia gestures to the space with professional courtesy. Would you like a tour of the property, Dr. Taylor? That won't be necessary, Andre replies politely. I have urgent business to attend to. Please assemble your entire security team in the main conference room in 30 minutes. Patricia nods and steps away to make arrangements. Andre takes a moment alone in what will become his home office, a wood-paneled room with floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking the property's manicured grounds. He changes into a fresh suit from luggage Vanessa had arranged to be delivered ahead of his arrival. On his tablet, he reviews additional documents she sent. Sentinel's contract with Horizon Heights community was already flagged during acquisition due to multiple complaints about selective enforcement of security protocols. Each complaint was dismissed without formal investigation. Diane enters with a leather portfolio. I've completed a preliminary assessment of potential legal issues. The security company's actions potentially violated multiple anti-discrimination policies, the Fair Housing Act, and their own stated protocols. James follows with his own report. HR evaluation reveals a pattern of similar incidents in Sentinel's complaint files. Most were classified as resident misunderstandings and dismissed without investigation. Andre makes a series of brief calls to key executives and board members. Each conversation lasts less than 2 minutes, his tone calm but resolute as he outlines his intended course of action and receives their backing. Outside, the security team trudges through lingering puddles toward the mansion. Thompson separates from the group momentarily, pulling Jackson aside. "Did you know who he was?" Thompson asks quietly. Jackson laughs nervously, avoiding eye contact. "Does it matter now?" What awaits the security team inside the mansion is not merely a disciplinary meeting. It's a fundamental reckoning with consequences they never imagined. The security team stands awkwardly in the mansion's conference room, uniforms still damp from their walk through the rain-soaked grounds. Original artwork adorns walls of rich mahogany, while floor-to-ceiling windows showcase sprawling estate grounds illuminated by landscape lighting. No one has offered them seats at the imposing table dominating the room's center. Patricia enters with Diane and James, her expression professionally neutral. "Please remain standing at this end of the table," she instructs, gesturing to the foot of the conference table furthest from the head position. A large screen on the wall activates, displaying the face of Gregory Walsh, CEO of Sentinel Security Services. His typical confidence is notably absent, replaced by thinly veiled anxiety. The double doors open. Andre steps in, now impeccably dressed in a fresh tailored suit, the Horizon Technologies CEO badge prominent on his lapel. The transformation from the drenched visitor at the gate to the commanding executive before them is striking. Recognition dawns across the security team's faces, confusion, then shock, followed by the sickening realization of their catastrophic error. Andre takes his seat at the head of the table with practiced ease, arranging his tablet and papers with deliberate precision. The room falls into complete silence, broken only by the soft hum of the climate control system. "For those who refused to check earlier," Andre begins, his voice measured and authoritative, "I'm Dr. Andre Taylor, CEO of Horizon Technologies, and as of yesterday, the parent company of Sentinel Security Services. I'm also the owner of this residence." Griffith and Jackson visibly pale. Thompson stares at the floor, conflicting emotions crossing his features. "Today was meant to be my first day in my new home after 3 months of international business," Andre continues. "Instead, it became an illuminating glimpse into the culture of a company my corporation recently acquired." He nods to Diane, who distributes printed stills from the security footage alongside transcripts of the conversations at the gate. Andre stands, walking slowly around the table as he methodically details the incident. "At 7:32 p.m., I approached the gate and identified myself as the homeowner," he notes, referencing the first image. "Without checking any database, Mr. Jackson immediately directed me to a service entrance, suggesting I was delivery personnel." Andre continues through each documented interaction, highlighting moments where protocols were selectively applied or completely ignored. His tone remains professional, but the precision of his analysis carries more weight than any emotional outburst could. "This isn't about me," Andre clarifies, completing his circuit of the table. "I have the resources and position to address this injustice. My concern is for those who don't. How many residents or visitors have faced similar treatment without the ability to hold anyone accountable?" Gregory Walsh interjects from the screen, his words tumbling over each other. "Dr. Taylor, please accept our profound apologies for this inexcusable incident. I assure you this doesn't reflect our company values and will take immediate corrective action." Andre raises a hand, stopping Walsh mid-sentence. "Mr. Walsh, your company was flagged during our acquisition review for having an unusually high number of discrimination complaints that were systematically dismissed. Today I experienced firsthand why those numbers exist." Andre returns to his seat, tapping his tablet to display a new document on the screen. Horizon Technologies had already planned a full audit and restructuring of Sentinel security as part of our acquisition strategy. Today's events have simply accelerated that timeline. He looks directly at Griffith and Jackson. Your employment is terminated, effective immediately. The rest of the team will undergo a thorough review and retraining if they wish to remain with the company. Griffith starts to protest, but Andre continues without acknowledging him. Ms. Harris will oversee the immediate implementation of new security protocols at all properties under our management. Andre turns his attention to Thompson. Your willingness to check the resident database against orders demonstrates integrity. Patricia will discuss your future with the company separately. The room falls silent again as the weight of these pronouncements settles over everyone present. Andre stands, buttoning his suit jacket in a gesture of finality. This incident will serve as the foundation for a complete overhaul of security protocols across all our properties, he states. What happened today will never happen again, not to me and not to anyone else. As Griffith and Jackson surrender their security badges, Andre reveals there's more to his response than individual terminations, a systemic overhaul that will transform the entire industry. Monday morning at Horizon Technologies headquarters finds the executive boardroom filled to capacity. Sunlight streams through glass walls, illuminating the tense faces of board members and division heads gathered for the emergency meeting Andre called over the weekend. Andre stands at the head of the conference table, his presentation displayed on multiple screens throughout the room. His voice carries the same measured authority it held in the mansion confrontation, but now addresses a broader systemic issue. What happened Friday night exposed vulnerabilities in 3 recently acquired companies, Andre explains, highlighting sections of his presentation. Sentinel Security, Eagle Property Management, and Horizon Heights Community Association all demonstrated failures that allowed discriminatory practices to flourish unchecked. Diane Chen takes the floor, presenting legal findings that paint a troubling picture. Our review uncovered a pattern of similar incidents across multiple properties. Most concerning is evidence that Griffith had been transferred to Horizon Heights after comparable complaints at other locations, essentially shuffling the problem rather than addressing it. The board members exchange uncomfortable glances. Bernard Winters, the longest-serving member, clears his throat. While this incident is regrettable, perhaps we should handle this matter internally. A public response could attract unnecessary negative attention to recent acquisitions. Several heads nod in agreement. Eleanor Jenkins, head of the Finance Committee, adds, "The security division represents less than 2% of our overall portfolio. Is this level of attention warranted?" Andre studies both speakers before responding. "This isn't about percentages or public relations. It's about the standard we set as a corporation and how we treat people. If we tolerate discrimination in any division, no matter how small, we tacitly endorse it across our entire organization." He advances to the next slide, displaying his 3-pronged approach. First, immediate leadership changes at Sentinel Security and Eagle Property Management. Second, a comprehensive audit of all security protocols across properties. Third, implementation of a new resident verification system that removes subjective judgment from the process. The presentation continues with detailed implementation timelines and budget projections. Andre addresses questions with the precision that has become his trademark, never allowing the discussion to drift from the core issue of systemic discrimination. Meanwhile, across town, Griffith and Jackson sit in a law office considerably less impressive than Horizon's headquarters. Attorney Raymond Delgado reviews their case with thinly veiled skepticism. "Let me understand," Delgado says, reviewing their hastily prepared complaint. "You're claiming wrongful termination because you were just following protocols when you denied the CEO entry to his own residence?" "We had no way of knowing who he was," Griffith insists. "The company never informed us about ownership changes." "That's right," Jackson adds defensively. "We were doing our jobs protecting the community. There's been a series of thefts, which apparently didn't warrant checking IDs of white residents," Delgado interrupts, reading from the incident report. "This says you waved through multiple vehicles without verification while making Dr. Taylor wait in the rain." Those were known residents, Griffith argues. And your defense is that you didn't recognize Dr. Taylor because... Delgado lets the question hang in the air. Neither man answers directly. Jackson finally mutters, "We were just applying extra scrutiny where it seemed warranted." Delgado makes a note, his expression growing more concerned. "And this notation about extra scrutiny, does it appear in your written protocols?" "It's an unwritten policy," Griffith admits. "Just good security practice." Delgado closes his notepad. "Gentlemen, I'll be blunt. Your best option is to negotiate a settlement that includes a non-disclosure agreement. If this goes to arbitration, you'll lose, and if it goes public, you'll never work in security again." Back at Horizon Technologies, Andre meets with Patricia Harris in his office. Her usual confidence is tempered with humility following the weekend's events. The audit team found multiple instances where complaint records were intentionally miscategorized to keep them out of discrimination statistics, she reports. The practice began shortly after Griffith was promoted to supervisor 3 years ago. Andre nods, unsurprised. "And Thompson?" "He's been with Sentinel for only 6 weeks, Patricia confirms. His personnel file shows he previously reported discriminatory practices at another security company and was subsequently let go for not being a team player. Offer him the lead position implementing our new verification protocols," Andre decides. "His integrity is exactly what we need during this transition." Patricia hesitates before continuing. "There's something else. We've identified 3 previous incidents where residents or visitors of color received similar treatment at properties Griffith supervised. Each complaint mysteriously disappeared from our records." Andre turns to the window, considering this information. "Have Diane's team contact each of those individuals, offer appropriate compensation and a personal apology from me." The following day, Andre announces the creation of a new executive position, Chief Equality Officer, responsible for ensuring fair treatment across all company properties and services. The business community expects him to bring in a high-profile name from outside. Instead, he appoints Patricia Harris. Ms. Harris demonstrated something crucial during this crisis, Andre explains to surprised board members. She recognized the problem immediately and took responsibility rather than making excuses. That's the leadership we need. He also announces a partnership with the National Fair Housing Alliance to develop new training protocols for security personnel. The program will become mandatory for Horizon properties and offered industry-wide. By week's end, the story leaks to the business press. Rather than attempting damage control, Andre authorizes transparent disclosure of the incident and resulting changes. The Wall Street Journal runs a feature on how a CEO's humiliation sparked industry reform. Business Insider follows with the security protocols failing communities of color and how one company is fixing them. Yes, Griffith and Jackson's attorney calls with news. Their wrongful termination claim has been rejected before even reaching arbitration. The arbitration panel cited overwhelming evidence of discriminatory application of security protocols. Both men now face review of their security licenses by state authorities. "I warned you this would happen," Delgado tells them. "The complaint records Thompson provided showed a clear pattern of discrimination. You're lucky they're not pursuing further legal action." At Horizon Technologies, Andre reviews implementation reports for the new verification system. Early data shows it's not only eliminating bias but actually improving overall security effectiveness. He adds a note to share these statistics at the upcoming industry conference his team is organizing. "This isn't just about doing what's right," he tells his executive team. "It's about doing what works. Removing bias from our systems makes them more effective, not less." As word spreads through the industry, Griffith and Jackson prepare a desperate countermove, a lawsuit claiming they were merely scapegoats for company-wide practices sanctioned at the highest levels. The arbitration hearing room feels deliberately intimidating. Wood-paneled walls, elevated panel bench, and microphones that amplify every nervous swallow. Griffith and Jackson sit beside their attorney, Delgado, whose expression suggests growing regret at taking their case. Across the aisle, Diane Chen represents Horizon Technologies and Sentinel Security, her modest presentation materials contrasting with Delgado's stacks of binders meant to impress. The three-person arbitration panel enters, led by retired Judge Amara Osei. This hearing addresses the complaint of wrongful termination filed by Oliver Griffith and Peter Jackson against Sentinel Security Services. Mr. Delgado, you may present your opening statement. Delgado rises, straightening his tie. My clients were terminated without proper process after following established, if unwritten, company practices. They're being scapegoated to protect corporate image, while the real institutional problems remain unaddressed. Griffith testifies first, portraying himself as a dedicated security professional caught in corporate politics. I've served Horizon Heights for 3 years with an exemplary record, he states, hands clasped before him. We received no formal training on resident verification protocols beyond being told to use our judgment. And what factors informed your judgment when denying Dr. Taylor entry? Judge Osei asks. Security concerns only, Griffith insists. Recent thefts in the community required heightened vigilance. Yet surveillance shows you admitted several other new vehicles without verification, Judge Osei observes. What distinguished those situations? Griffith shifts uncomfortably. Those appeared to be residents based on various factors. Jackson's testimony follows similar reasoning, claiming they were terminated to create a narrative rather than for actual misconduct. His confidence falters under cross-examination when Diane asks him to explain text messages instructing guards to know who belongs and who doesn't. That's standard security language, Jackson argues defensively. We're trained to recognize patterns. What specific patterns? Diane presses. Jackson's eyes dart to Delgado, who subtly shakes his head. Just suspicious behavior, nothing else. During a recess, Delgado pulls his clients aside in a conference room. This isn't going well. The panel sees through your explanations. Consider settlement while it's still an option. They'll pay to make this go away, Griffith insists. The negative publicity alone is worth a settlement. You're severely miscalculating their position, Delgado warns. When the hearing resumes, Thompson takes the stand. Now dressed in a new Sentinel security management uniform, he provides testimony that systematically dismantles Griffith and Jackson's claims. On my first day, Mr. Griffith instructed me to apply different verification standards depending on who approached the gate, Thompson states, referring to his detailed notes. He specifically said to use extra scrutiny with people who don't look like they belong here. He produces text messages from Griffith directing guards to check ID only when necessary. Messages sent after residents complained about selective enforcement. The final blow comes when Diane presents records of 3 previous incidents where residents or visitors of color experienced similar treatment at properties where Griffith supervised security. In each case, complaints were filed but mysteriously resolved with no disciplinary action. These records were intentionally miscategorized in Sentinel's system, Patricia Harris testifies. An internal audit revealed this practice began shortly after Mr. Griffith was promoted to supervisor. The arbitration panel deliberates for less than 30 minutes before delivering their decision. Judge Osei reads the unanimous ruling. Termination upheld, claims for damages denied, and evidence forwarded to state licensing authorities for review of security credentials. Outside the hearing room, a reporter approaches for comment. Griffith pushes past cameras without speaking, but Jackson, bitter and seething, mutters loudly, "This is how things really work. They needed black and white villains for their PR story." The comment is captured on multiple microphones. By evening, it appears in news coverage alongside Thompson's testimony and the panel's findings. As Griffith and Jackson face professional ruin, the security industry watches with growing unease. Who will be held accountable next? 6 months later, Horizon Heights Community Center buzzes with activity. The exclusive property that once denied Andre entry now hosts the first national summit on equitable security practices. Security companies, property managers, and homeowners associations from across the country fill the auditorium. some driven by genuine commitment to improvement, others by fear of being the next cautionary tale. Andre takes the podium without fanfare, his presence commanding attention without demanding it. The projector behind him displays not his credentials or accomplishments, but anonymous testimonials from residents and visitors who experienced discrimination at gated communities nationwide. "I stand before you not to recount my personal experience," Andre begins, "but to give voice to those whose stories typically go unheard. For every incident that makes headlines, dozens more occur without resolution." The statistics displayed on screen are sobering. Complaints about discriminatory security practices are filed at 3 times the rate they're formally recorded, and residents of color are 7 times more likely to report verification challenges than white residents. These numbers represent real people, professionals, families, visitors, who are treated as inherently suspicious based solely on appearance. Andre continues. The security industry has developed patterns of practice that systemically disadvantage specific groups while claiming to protect communities. Patricia Harris, now established in her role as Chief Equality Officer, presents Horizon's new verification protocols. The redesigned system uses technology to reduce subjective judgment. All residents and authorized visitors receive identical verification processes regardless of appearance. 6 months of implementation data shows dramatic improvements in both security effectiveness and resident satisfaction, Patricia reports. Legitimate security incidents are identified more accurately, while discriminatory practices have been eliminated. Thompson, now Security Operations Manager, demonstrates the training program developed in partnership with civil rights organizations. Security personnel observe simulations of common scenarios, learning to distinguish between genuine security concerns and biased assumptions. This program has been implemented across all Horizon properties, Thompson explains. The results speak for themselves. Security incident reports are more accurate, resident complaints have decreased by 84%, and staff retention has improved significantly. The business case for change dominates the afternoon sessions. Properties implementing the new protocols report higher resident retention, increased property values, and significantly fewer legal complaints. What began as a moral imperative has proven financially beneficial as well. Not everyone embraces the changes. During a panel discussion, Victor Ramos, owner of a rival security firm, argues forcefully against the new approach. Subjective assessment is a necessary part of security work, Ramos insists. My guards are trained to recognize who belongs and who doesn't. That's what communities pay us for. Andre responds with characteristic calm, presenting side-by-side statistics from properties using traditional and new systems. The data clearly shows the newer, more objective protocols catch more genuine security concerns while eliminating discriminatory practices. Security isn't about keeping out the wrong people, Andre concludes. It's about creating safe communities where everyone is treated with equal respect and dignity. By day's end, 12 companies sign agreements to implement Horizon's new protocols. Industry publications cover the summit extensively, and the American Security Association announces plans to incorporate the standards into their certification requirements. As the industry begins to transform, Andre receives an unexpected letter from someone intimately connected to the original incident. What reconciliation might be possible? 1 year after being denied entry to his own home, Andre hosts an elegant housewarming party at his Horizon Heights mansion. String lights illuminate the terraced garden where guests mingle on a perfect summer evening. The event celebrates not just Andre's belated home dedication, but Horizon Heights becoming the first community in the country to receive the new Equity Excellence certification from the National Fair Housing Alliance. Patricia Harris, now recognized for her pioneering work in security reform, engages with a group of industry leaders eager to implement similar changes at their properties. Thompson, whose security team is considered the gold standard nationwide, supervises the event with quiet pride. Diane and James circulate among guests, their legal and HR initiatives having transformed company culture far beyond the security division. Several Horizon Heights residents have become friends with Andre over the past year. Their initial embarrassment about the incident transformed into genuine commitment to community change. The Homeowners Association president presents Andre with a ceremonial key to the community, a symbolic gesture acknowledging the transformation his experience sparked. As Andre steps away from the main gathering to enjoy a moment of solitude on his terrace, he notices a figure approaching hesitantly from the garden path. The face is familiar but unexpected. Jackson, the security guard who first denied him entry to his own home. After losing his security license, Jackson struggled to rebuild his life. The experience forced him to confront the biases and assumptions that guided his actions that rainy night. He stands now with shoulders slightly hunched, his former arrogance replaced by genuine humility. "Dr. Taylor," Jackson begins, his voice quiet. "I'm not here to ask for anything. I just needed to apologize in person." Andre studies him for a long moment. "That takes courage," he finally acknowledges, neither offering immediate forgiveness nor turning him away. "I never thought of myself as prejudiced," Jackson admits. "But losing everything made me see how my actions affected people. I've been working with a community reconciliation program, trying to understand." Andre nods thoughtfully. "And what have you learned?" "That security isn't about keeping people out," Jackson responds. "It's about ensuring everyone feels safe, not just some people at the expense of others." Andre gestures toward Patricia across the garden. "Ms. Harris is developing a program training former security personnel to recognize and address biases in workplace settings. You might speak with her about it." Later, addressing his gathered guests, Andre reflects on the year's journey. "What happened at that gate wasn't just about me being denied entry to my home. It revealed a system where power and prejudice combined to create everyday injustices. The question wasn't whether I could get past that gate. I had the resources to ensure that, but how many others couldn't?" He continues, voice carrying across the attentive crowd. "True change isn't just about punishing individuals who exhibit bias. It's about reimagining systems that enable and protect those biases. When we focus only on the former without addressing the latter, we're just treating symptoms while the disease continues to spread." Andre raises his glass in a toast. "To creating gates that keep us safe without keeping us separate. To security that protects everyone equally. And to the courage to confront our biases, both personal and systemic." As evening deepens, Andre gives Thompson a tour of the home he once couldn't enter. They pause at the front gate, now staffed by a diverse security team using the new verification protocols. Andre notes that the system has prevented 2 actual break-in attempts in the past year, more effective security through more equitable practices. Standing on his porch as the last guests depart, Andre finally feels at home, not just in his mansion, but in a community that has begun the hard work of transformation. The gate that once kept him out now stands as a symbol of change, its purpose refined rather than reinforced. True power isn't about forcing your way through closed gates. It's about rebuilding systems so gates serve their purpose without reinforcing prejudice. If you found this story powerful, don't keep it to yourself. Hit that subscribe button on Beat Stories right now to make sure you never miss our twice-weekly episodes of real-life justice. Our community is growing because we share stories that matter, stories that need to be told. Tap the like button if you believe in standing up against discrimination in all its forms. Your support helps us create more content that highlights the struggles and triumphs of everyday people facing extraordinary challenges.
Every time someone stands up, speaks out, or refuses to be erased, a new story is born. At Beat Stories, we archive that courage. Subscribe now and help us keep these moments alive, because the more we share them, the harder they are to ignore.